MJBulls is proud to produce the Raising Cannabis Capital podcast. Today's episode will begin after this brief message from our sponsor.
This ain't no desk job, but it's what you got to do to scale up to this in a single growing season. It's how in Oregon alone we grew and harvested the single largest crop of CBG in the world. Grit, tenacity, hell, whatever you want to call it. The crew at Hamptown USA has it by the bucket load. Just getting our seeds in the ground back in spring and growing them till fall was nothing short of heroic. Propagation, planting, maintaining what we have, and building what we need. Trust me, this shit ain't easy. But when it comes to harvest time, our team bumps the bar up to a whole new level. Next comes processing. Everything but the top flower goes off to get turned into crude, distillate, isolate, and water-soluble ready. Our product, like our team, is nothing less than best in class. This plant has always had the power to change the world, but it needs people to make it happen. We're lucky to have those people right here at Hamptown USA.
So really, the first thing I think about is risk from an investment standpoint. My number one responsibility is not losing my investors' capital. It's pretty much like our founding principle, and our second founding principle is just to reread the first one.
From MJBulls Media, it's the Raising Cannabis Capital Show. Today we're speaking with Managing Director of Multiverse Capital, Nick Easley. Nick, thanks so much for being on the MJBulls podcast.
Absolute pleasure to be here to share a little information about what we do in the cannabis sector to help investors make some better decisions.
We normally do interviews with companies that are raising cannabis capital, but as an investor, you both raise and invest capital. Can you tell us how Multiverse Capital works?
Well, uniquely, as an investment vehicle like Multiverse Capital, we're constantly raising capital and then working to deploy capital into portfolio companies. It's the ability of showing a unique advantage of like a special edge, as well as a trustworthy nature that they come from outside industry experience, from finance, legal, compliance, as well as cannabis. Many cannabis funds out there, they come from great financial backgrounds, and they jump into this space unguided. But based on having a consulting company, independent entity for over the last almost decade now, having learned and knowing the industry is what our unique advantage is in being able to wisely direct the placement of capital and reinvestment of the returns of those investments.
You take a lot of the risk and a lot of the work out of the investment process because you guys do the due diligence and you blend it within a bunch of investments to sort of hedge the bet, to minimize the risk. How would an investor get involved if they wanted to take part in within one of your funds?
So in the United States, so we go under certain regulations, and as long as an investor is an accredited investor, like a certified accredited investor, we can actually take in their capital. Our minimum investment size is $250,000, and our maximum investment size is $10 million. And then essentially when that investment comes in, be it from an investment banker, be it from a broker dealer, be it from a family office, be it from a fund of funds, be it from a high net worth individual, as long as they're an accredited investor, we can take that capital in and essentially deploy that capital. And you're 100% correct. Instead of betting on an individual stock or an individual company that's growing in California or Arkansas, or someone who has a license in Malta or Cyprus or Greece or somewhere, it's really looking at what markets can do what they're doing, who's going to scale and follow standards, who actually has unique products, who's protecting their intellectual property, various scalability. And then we'll combine those, just like you said, to minimize the risk. You're investing into a company that invests into lots of various stocks because you don't want to guess and take those risks.
I want to take a minute to tell you about some really innovative things that our sponsor, Cream of the Crop, is doing in the cannabis space. Their brand is on fire. They have the 5th best-selling indoor flower brand in the state, and they're profitable, growing their business at 10% a month year to date. They're succeeding by helping cultivators turn profits through operation management and consulting in exchange for supply agreements. By bringing 30-plus years of cultivation experience, award-winning genetics, ultra-efficient SOPs, proprietary nutrient mixes, and their brand, they're able to help both operators who are new to the space and ones who want to just increase efficiency. In fact, they just increased profits for one of their clients by $700,000 per month. Just incredible. But what's really exciting is that they're expanding their highly scalable model beyond California. That's right, they're accepting applications across the country for 2021 and 2022 partnerships. Also, if you're planning to invest in cannabis, you should definitely look at Cream of the Crop because they're doing a capital round in early 2021 to help with their brand's national expansion. To learn more about partnering with Cream of the Crop or investing in their expansion, go to creamofthecropgardens.com. That's creamofthecropgardens.com. So now let's switch gears. Let's look at it from cannabis companies that are raising capital. What type of companies do you look for as a possible investment?
So really, the first thing I think about is risk from an investment standpoint. My number one responsibility is not losing my investors' capital. It's pretty much like our founding principle. And our second founding principle is just to reread the first one. At this stage, I think about risk. So in the United States, federally illegal, state-by-state legal. Is it recreational or adult use licensed, or is it completely ancillary, and does it serve the space? So that's how I'll choose like a risk profile. But if it's a plant-touching business, be it cultivation, extraction, retail, distribution, delivery, even analytical testing companies, those still touch the plant and are subject to certain risk profiles. So I look at what state is it, for example, or what market, how many other licenses are there? Do they have a plan for scalability? Their management team, what's their experience in outside cannabis? But really, not just people who can grow cannabis or make the best hashes or have the greatest, consumer dispensary in some smaller market. But how are they similar to outside industries? How do they plan to scale, protect the company, and really have a unique edge? Because at the end of the day, the company sounds great, looks great. It's those people that are going to make the decisions on a day-to-day basis using my money to essentially run their business so that I can have returns for my investors.
Nick, I know you see a ton of deals. So what advice would you give cannabis companies who are preparing to raise capital?
The main thing, if you're raising capital, making sure that it's being done legally and compliantly and you're not doing general solicitation. You would hate to raise capital in the wrong way and start a great business to only have all of these catastrophic problems come later. You have to be legal, you have to be incorporated, have adequate shareholder agreements, operating agreements, and do everything correct from the normal business standpoint. Then that's what's going to allow you to be a great cannabis company or a great cannabis investment. But if it's not legal, if it's not compliant, that's the quickest way to not have a real investor be interested in your company.
We've been speaking with Nick Easley, who is the managing director of Multiverse Capital. Multiverse's website address is multiversecap.com, and Nick can be reached at Nick at multiversecap.com. Nick, thank you so much for being on the MJBulls podcast.
Absolutely a pleasure. For those investors looking to place, especially the companies looking to raise capital, as long as they clearly can understand who they are, what they do, how they're going to use this capital, what the anticipated exits are, how they plan to scale and use that capital to make additional capital. That's exactly the sorts of companies that we're looking for. So make sure you can always articulate that clearly and properly to investors before going out there and protect yourself. It's a shark-filled ocean right now, but glorious opportunities for those that structure and follow normal business practices and raise their capital legally.
Crappy's Feel Better Company is a cannabinoid CPG company with a line of easy-to-use CBG, CBD, and CBN products built for the weekend warriors, the weekday Zoomers, and anyone in between. Crappy's next-gen products incorporate pharmaceutical-derived chemistry to precisely blend minor cannabinoids and terpenes, creating a series of proprietary formulas for hyper-targeted use cases. Harnessing a team of experts with over 75 combined years of chemistry experience, the company relies on its novel solubility technology, state-of-the-art delivery, consistent results, and unique eye-catching branding to stand out from the crowd. Crappy's executive team and chemists have created a vast and diverse product pipeline to maintain relevance in a saturated market. To find out how you can participate in Crappy's Feel Better expansion, which includes major retail placements, university-executed clinical trials, IP and patent submissions, GMP and API scale-up, and international distribution, go to crappysfeelbetter.com or on Instagram at crappysfeelbetter. Today's show was made possible by the generous support of our sponsors, like Alt36, the country's premier blockchain payment processing platform that's providing dispensaries and its customers with a safe and secure payment option other than cash. To learn more, go to alt36.com.